Good evening, Eswatini, and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobe Gonzapkelwago. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases continues to surge in the country as the Ministry of Health reports 45 new cases. The Financial Services Regulatory Authority has warned the nation against social media schemes such as WhatsApp gifting. SWAPCHA has urged employers to take care of the mental health and social well-being of their employees. And now for the news. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases continues to surge in the country, as currently the country has over 1,400 confirmed cases since we started reporting. According to a statement issued by the Ministry of Health, a total of 453 results were received today, out of which 408 tested negative, while 45 tested positive for coronavirus. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 1,334. The statement shows that there are 674 active cases. 695 have recovered, 20 are deceased, and 45 have been registered for care. Looking at the cumulative confirmed cases by region, Manzini has 747 confirmed cases. Hoho has 450 confirmed cases, Shiselweni has 125 confirmed cases, and the Lubombo region has 112 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Let's continue with the news. The Financial Services Regulatory Authority warns Eswatini against joining pyramid schemes like WhatsApp gifting, which are promoted through Facebook and WhatsApp groups. Head of Stakeholder and Customer Relations, Mbuso Kamete, says such schemes are not registered and always lead to major losses. Let's take a look.
Following the increasing number of online pyramid schemes recently, the Financial Services Regulatory Authority says Eswatini should refrain from joining them since they ultimately collapse and those at the bottom of the scheme make major losses. The institution's head of Stakeholder and Customer Relations, Mbuso Kameza, says it is only the Central Bank of Eswatini and the Financial Services Regulatory Authority that authorizes the operation of any financial institution. He urges the public to contact the company if they suspect they are being recruited into a pyramid scheme.
As FSRA, we take this opportunity to warn Eswatini from participating to such schemes. These are illegal schemes which have become common in social media, and it's everywhere. Some of them, they are called pyramid schemes, and there are many kinds of them. So it is not actually wise to invest your money on such scheme. As long as the scheme is not licensed by FSRA or the central bank, you need to be careful because the chances of you losing money through that scheme is very high. Even before you invest, just make an inquiry. The number is 76580214. You can just send a WhatsApp message to ask, meeting someone here, he is actually asking me to invest. Is that person legally licensed? So FSRA will be in a position to advise you.
Kamete says the public should be more careful, especially now that people have been laid off, as they might fall into a trap of investing all their money into the schemes and get nothing in return. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelswe Ndlangamandla with Nelswe Simelane in Babane.
The Ministry of Health today held a meeting whereby health workers were trained about COVID-19. Vusi Logodfago from the ministry says the training will be of great help when health workers start the COVID-19 campaign, especially in areas where the virus has spread the most.
Following that, the Minister of Health, Lizzie Nkosi, mentioned that they will add more health workers in fighting the spread of the COVID-19 disease in the country. The Health Ministry today engaged new health workers by training them on how to deal with patients, especially during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. Epidemiologist Vusi Logodfago from the ministry says health workers being trained will assist in making sure workers and patients are always safe, especially during their COVID-19 campaign of visiting high-risk areas such as the Manzini region.
We are actually training mostly our newly recruited medical doctors, our interns, even nurses. So we are training them at length in terms of coronavirus, which is COVID-19. So these teams will be the one that will be going door to door in the Manzini region and the whole region, just for starters. But then we will see where the epidemic takes us, and we might even go there. So basically, the reason or the content of what we are training on about, we are training mainly in terms of the basics of COVID. We are training mainly on IPC so that they protect themselves while they actually move around the homesteads. We are also training them about the detailed process of contact tracing, how you go around doing contact tracing, how you do around doing mass screening and testing of those people in the different households, the door-to-door approach. So once we actually do that, we'll be able to actually identify cases as early as possible in those affected areas. And then it will actually tell us more in terms of being able to isolate those cases and manage them as early as possible so that we avoid the complications and other unintended results.
The Ministry of Health says if everyone in the country works hand in hand in fighting the COVID-19 disease, the Kingdom of Eswatini will be protected from COVID-19. Reporting, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda, Ezulwini.
The Eswatini Business Coalition on HIV and AIDS urges employers to take care of the mental health and social well-being of their workers, as constant information overload about COVID-19 can be overwhelming and cause strong emotions. The Chief Executive Officer, Thobile Dlamini, said this when explaining the importance of supporting the welfare of workers during these difficult times.
It is important for employers to have sessions on the mental well-being of their workers, as this could be a positive determinant on the levels of productivity. The Eswatini Business Coalition on HIV and AIDS Chief Executive Officer Thobile Dlamini says a healthy nation is one whose psychological health is well taken care of.
Issues of mental health and wellness in the workplace are no longer nice to have, but they're a requirement if we are hoping to sustain your business beyond COVID-19. So I would urge all employers with employees participating to consider starting up wellness programs. A wellness program is a system, but you can start anywhere. You can just start by having at least, our minimum is allocate 45 minutes a month. Get somebody who's trained on mental wellness to come and talk to your staff. If 45 minutes is too long, 15 minutes for all departments a week is sufficient just to talk to your employees, find out how are they coping. Because we have employees that have to take buses to the workplace, they go back to their families, and in their families they have members that are no longer working. What I've seen since COVID-19 happened, we have a lot of now even extended family that is requiring financial help from the only employed family member.
Dlamini urges Emaswati to visit health facilities for medical checkups, which will help them determine if they have underlying illnesses. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelsuwe Ndlangamandla with Nelsuwe Simelane in Matapa.
A number of people from different areas within the Lubombo region have raised concerns over the way testing is conducted for people seeking licenses and permits to drive light and heavyweight vehicles in the Ministry of Works and Transport. They say that the testing is done through answering questions in English, yet most of them are unable to read or write in English.
People from different areas in the Lubombo region have raised concerns over the new program conducted by the Ministry of Works and Transport of testing people for light and heavy vehicles licenses in the region, which came into effect from the 1st of July 2020. Some of the concerns are related with the fact that the testing is done through writing, which some find difficult to read and write English, as some says they never went to school. Some says that it has become expensive for them to acquire these permits since they travel long distances to book for the actual testing.
Ungena ngaphakathi lo ukufunda le driving school akufani naloko kula lesingisi nje angimane ngibola umdala ngaka angifundanga ngagcina bo 2 so lokho kusikhinya beda kakhulu kani lokunye lokuyinkinga la ekhaya kuba abasitsheli mabashintsha umthetho bekufanele basitshele ukuthi umthetho siyawutshintsha ku-traffic hambani manje steki basho-ke nathi sikhala ethi yini sizathu
noma sengifikile kuphinde ngijike ngibuyele emuva ngente appointment phinde kuposa ngibuye nini ngibuye Friday nangibuya Friday ngidobhala Friday udondela appointment Monday uyabuya udobhala sesifikile ke lapha singakwathi usikwente kanti sesifikile siyabona ukuyabhaleka nawo lapha ngekhathi sisi kubhlungu lokulapha ngekhathi asikafunzi sonke ngalokufanako kwecala nawufika e-driving school i-driving school kude la kangwala ifundisa khona ngesilungu i-driving school sifundisa ngeSiswati so leli sign leli likuphocelela ukuthi ume but nyalo nawufika la ngekhathi kude lesilungu lesilapha leSiswati kunesilungu kuphela asikafunzi sonke sisi ngesakhona le nto lapha ngekhathi.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, Kangeziwa Mabuza, has urged the public to be patient since the ministry is in a process of improving things concerning the transport sector. Mabuza says that this program is meant to minimize accidents, which then hit hard on government. Mabuza says that the ministry is open to suggestion that can better the program. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomblangeni with Themba Shabango in Sitegi.
Maloma Colliery has donated 400,000 litres of water to the Ministry of Health, which will assist 20 schools in the Lubombo and Shiselweni regions towards the preparation of the reopening of schools. The donation took place at the Ministry of Education boardroom.
Upon seeing the need of assisting the Minister of Education towards school opening preparations, Maloma Colliery has donated 400,000 litres to the Minister of Education, which will assist 20 schools in the Shiselweni and Lubombo regions. Maloma Colliery Managing Director Sengi Pires Melane says, with COVID-19 cases shooting up on a daily basis, pupils and teachers are at a higher risk. Thus, the need for water in order for them to continuously wash their hands.
We felt we have to come in sifake sethu sandla siyinkampani yaseMaloma and assist the schools.
He says they will contribute 10,000 litres of water monthly to these schools. Andile Matsebula, the check manager at Maloma Colliery, says they take some pupils through the mentorship program, where some have been hired at the company.
Yes, I want to know, let us extend the program. Maloma develop a apprentice program for Tikolo Maloma.
Receiving the donation on behalf of the Ministry of Education was the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Petram Stewart, who invited private sector and organizations to assist in making the environment in schools a conducive one for pupils to go back to school whilst minimizing the spread of the virus.
Private sector
the PS asked for patience from parents as well as the general public, as the ministry is doing the most to ensure safety for both pupils and teachers. I am Kian MCB for Eswatini TV News, Mbabane.
The MTN Eswatini Communication and Corporate Affairs Manager, Mandla Ponvo, says the reason the company has been deducting airtime and data from customers is because customers have been unfaithful in bringing back airtime that was loaned to them. This follows concerns from customers on the unfair deduction of their airtime and data.
Following growing concerns from members of the public, especially MTN customers, on the way the company has been unfairly deducting airtime from their accounts and going to the extent of deducting even data to pay owing existing debts. According to some customers, some do not even use cell phones with the internet, but they would continuously receive messages reporting that a certain amount has been used on the internet. We spoke to the MTN's Communications and Corporate Affairs Manager, Mandla Ponvo, who clarified the reason behind this. He states that customers would borrow airtime and would not pay back.
We did notice that this product has been abused. In some instances, some customers borrow airtime from MTN, but when it is time to retire or to repay the airtime that has been loaned, you find that customers now use other ways to avoid payment. For instance, they would load minutes because for the longest time the company was not able to recover extra time from minutes, from data bundles, amongst other things. But over time, the company had to sit down and reevaluate the entire objective of this product. That this is a product that is meant to assist a customer who is in desperate need of help for that particular moment. So we have had to revise the rules of this product, which is to say, from the past few weeks, we expect that if you borrow airtime from MTN, you are supposed to bring it back within a space of 6 hours or at the first recharge.
He says they have recovered the huge amount which was owed by customers and further pleaded with customers to pay back whenever they have been loaned airtime. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB, Malkens.
Following that the Transportation Council distributed sanitizers to public transport operators, the Transportation Council chairperson, Slang Nhlabati, says he appreciates efforts done by public transport workers of following government rules and regulations of keeping eMaswati safe from COVID-19.
The chairperson of the Road Transportation Council, Sihlang Nhlabati, says it is great to see public transport operators in the country using sanitizers that were given to them by the council, which will ensure the safety of all public transport users. Nhlabati says the council will continue to ensure that all public transport are able to get access, and that one problem they are faced with is the high number of passengers that operators allow in vehicles.
Sanitizers are there, but they haven't been rolled out completely to every public transport operator, so which is causing much havoc in the country, and we see the high numbers that are rising. We have seen cases of overloadings, cases of persons not putting masks, cases of people not being sanitized in vehicles. So there is a great concern, and I am aware the law enforcement is working hard on it, and on a daily basis we have about 4 or 5 persons going to court to face situations where they are being fined for not adhering to the COVID regulations.
The transport and logistics team in the country continues to create more ways of ensuring all eMaswati using public transport are protected from the COVID-19 disease. Reporting, I'm Temalange Dlamini with Muzim Konda, Lobamba.
A Ndwandwe family from Joburg area is struggling to come to terms with the passing away of 2 of their family members. One of the family members passed away in South Africa, while the other, a 23-year-old, committed suicide by hanging himself at Joburg area.
On Monday, a Ndwandwe family from Joburg area under Eswatini constituency received news that 2 of their family members have died in separate occasions. One of the family members who died is Siyabonga Ndwandwe, who allegedly committed suicide as he was found hanging in one of the houses in the Ndwandwe family. The other family member died in South Africa where he was working, and he is Siyabonga's brother-in-law. The cause of his death has not been established at the time of compiling this report. Siyabonga has been recently released from prison, and he has been out of jail for roughly a week. It is not clear why Siyabonga committed suicide, as he did not leave a suicide note. It is suspected that he hanged himself on Saturday, as the whole of Sunday he was not seen in the area. Nomgcibelo Ndwandwe, who is Siyabonga's aunt, says both of Siyabonga's parents are no more.
Lokunyalo kwasekaphuma kube nemfana nje walapha kanzima bona lokuthina uphila nebantu babwathi sohlalile base bathi asimkhiphe shebo umfana wabithi abuye kapha babakushona lo nyaphelile besimgcwabo lo nyaphelile nyalo sebonga besasele yedwa nje lana mama kheke kathi ashona nalo mntwana lombonile naye uchamuke nje naye uthi umhlola ngoba uthi umgcine emgcibela wasothi ke hayi asengimhlole Siyabonga ngoba ngumuntu bebadoha naye nakafika ke kuseni la athuthu uyahamba uyangalendlini sothi buka lapha siterweni sombona uyalenga ke naye wathuka ke wajika.
Police spokesperson Superintendent Phindile Vilakati confirmed the incident. The Ndwandwe family is appealing to members of the public to assist in burying Siyabonga. People willing to assist the Ndwandwe family can contact Nomgcibelo on 7648-9702. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smuva Shongwe, Joburg.
And now for our sports news. Mbabane Golf Club captain Kenneth Ngambule says they'll make sure to follow all of government's regulations to ensure the safety of their players as they resume with their games. Ngambule was speaking when they were fumigating the golf clubhouse in Mbabane.
After the government's decision to allow sporting courts classified under low risk to return to action, the Eswatini Golf Association has decided to start by fumigating the clubhouse. The club captain, Kenneth Ngambule, says it is important for them to ensure the safety of every player who uses their facilities.
What is important is that we have put on top of our list the issue of compliance, because it is through that compliance that will make sure that everyone who comes to Mbabane Golf Club is safe. So we have provided the thermostat that every golfer will be checked temperature upon coming into the golf club, and that temperature will be registered. And then it is a requirement and it's compulsory that each golfer has a sanitizer in his or her bag that golfer will use after each hole, or at most after 2 holes, to make sure that we sanitize ourselves and we keep up to the health requirement as prescribed by WHO.
Ngambule says they will have their first competition this coming weekend and they will make sure everyone is screened before the games. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
The Eswatini Cycling Association President, Sihlangu Nhlabati, says they will resume their first race on the first week of August. Nhlabati says they'll ensure that they have no more than 100 cyclists as per government regulations. Nhlabati was speaking with sports journalists from this broadcaster in Lobamba.
The Eswatini government announced that other sporting courts classified as low risk can now start competing again. The Eswatini Cycling Association has wasted no time as they announced that they will, in the first week of August, host their first kickstart event that aims to bring their cyclists to speed. The association president, Sihlangu Nhlabati, says they will follow all the regulations, including having no more than 100 cyclists in their events.
We have a kickstart event on the 2nd of August at Sekupe, just to flex our muscles for the year. We've been inactive for quite a long time. We are hoping that the first week of August will give an opportunity to every cyclist to flex his muscles. And obviously there were races, they were in the line, like the Nkonyeni Inyatsi that was coming up on the 8th of August. We are hoping, and we have engaged with them, with the race organizer, that the race should continue. It will definitely happen, but it will depend on either it's an official or semi-official event, but definitely it is going to continue. We are taking consideration of the numbers. The 100 number is a bit on the lower side on us, but we are still to engage with the relevant bodies to try and see how we can maneuver with these numbers that we have been given authority to deal with.
Nhlabati says for now they will continue with events that were still to be played from August, but they will also look at bringing in some of the races that were cancelled, including the National Champs, which was supposed to take place in April. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Muzim Konda, Lobamba.
Before we wrap up our bulletin, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases continues to surge in the country as the Ministry of Health reports 45 new cases. The Financial Services Regulatory Authority has warned the nation against social media schemes such as WhatsApp gifting. SWAPCHA has urged employers to take care of the mental health and social well-being of their employees. Eswatini, that's all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.